channel. Thank you so much for joining me this evening. As always, I like to start out by saying that your time is indeed a valuable thing, and spending a little bit of it with me is always greatly appreciated. So thank you so much. Welcome to the Day and Night Hump here on the Upstairs to the Right Music channel. Thank you so much again for tuning in, guys. While we're waiting for more people to join into the live stream, I'll round about a few things here. You know, I was watching KDH YouTube channel. I really like his channel a lot. He's a smart guy. And he was talking about the Nano Cortex. That was the review that in the last live stream I was trying to remember. And I watched that review again of that. Oh, not really a review, but more of a accurate thrashing that that it needed to get. But it intrigued me because not that one, obviously. That's nothing that I'm interested in for all the reasons that he stated, obviously. But it intrigues me about these devices like the Nano Cortex, that the price of them seem to be coming down. Now, do the features match with what you're paying in terms of price? In some cases, yes. In some cases, no. From my understanding, for a few $100s more, when I think it retails for about $500, we'll say round it off for for about another $100 or so more, you get a much better unit that does everything that you do want it to do within that price range. Still, in all, I am impressed with the fact that I'm seeing a lot of these devices prices coming down as the years roll by, as the quality goes up and up. And I'm super, super happy with that. Oh, by the way, I'm in a different place tonight. As a matter of fact, let me make an adjustment here. There. Yeah, I'm having the floor to my studio done, so I'm here where I shoot my normal content tonight. So yeah, no back support. No so, it's going to be an interesting hour, but just a temporary move, just for tonight. Just fascinated with the prices coming down on those things. Now, am I interested in buying one? No, still not. I think that, again, for $500, even on the second, especially on the secondhand market, you can find yourself a really great by 12 combo amp. And I do believe that for most uses, that's the way to go. And you won't need very much else. However, for playing live, if you have to, that'll cover it. A lot of clubs, however, are starting to say they don't want that. Few will turn down a 1x12 even still. Up with a 4x12 stack, then no. If you show with two, even worse. So don't do that. But yeah, definitely it is interesting that the prices on those units is coming down. And I myself, again, I may dabble one of these days, but I doubt it. I'm really happy with what I've got in terms of my amps. I've got two 1x12s that cover a lot of range between two of them. And one of the main things that I like to do is practicing privately with headphones on. With my wireless headphone setup, I can have my guitar wirelessly into this amp, having the output going into my headphones wirelessly. I can walk around the house playing guitar. And it's really, for me these days, it's all I need. But if I need to really record something with it, I still think it'll handle it. So 1x12s, guys. I keep preaching 1x12s. I will continue to do so. Okay, what do we got here? Mr. Allmark's in the house. Hey, welcome. Watson in this house. Hey, tall, thin Kev, how you doing? Hey, man, I'm going to get to you this week. Thank you so much for that. So you can count on that coming through this week. It's been hectic in ways I cannot even begin to enumerate. But in any case, I'll get that to you, sir. Thank you. Just a reminder that I have not forgotten. Yeah, guys, welcome. Glad to see you. Again, in a different location tonight than I normally am, having my floor, my studio done. So this is where I shoot my regular content, where I do reviews and things like that. And so it'll do for tonight. It'll do for tonight. Who else we got here? This is a weird orientation I've got going here. Hold on, guys. Let me change this. There we go. How am I doing? Digging up the road again right now. What? Digging up the road again? Well, if that's a metaphorically, then I'm with you. If it's literally, then in a way I'm with you on that as well. I'm still recovering from some things. I have to put some shelves up here, much like this one behind me, but I've not had the energy to do it. So I'm glad to see you, sir. Um, well, tonight's subject, trading versus buying, and why trading may be your best bet, is kind of part three of a trilogy that I had kind of roughly planned out in my head. Hey, two hats in the house. Hey, thank you, man. In a new location, just while I get my floors in the studio done. The guy tells me he'll have it done tomorrow, so hopefully for Sunday I'll be back to regular business. But I don't know, I like it here. Um, yeah, I, again, well, one of the things about being here is I'm next to where I keep my guitars, so I don't have to move them around the house. But if you guys remember, so this is the 77 Greco Super Sounds that I refurbished in order to do a trade. And I got it, again, the story behind that is I got offered it by a guy who was selling me a Greco. I said no because it was just too tore looking, I thought. But again, I really was literally laying in bed thinking about it, which is, again, occupational hazard. And I decided to say to the guy yes, and boy, am I glad I did, because with just a little bit of investment, I was able to knock this up to where it has a great trade value. And when I went to the Vinodal show, I specifically get the guitar, refurbish it, part two, trade it at Vinodal for Fender made in Mexico, because I thought the value there was about equivalent, and see how that worked out. And as a needle in a haystack as that sound, I actually did find a guy who has a Fender Telecaster, it's a beauty, that is equivalent value, by the way. Both guitars new are in the 650, or well, in the secondhand market. New in the case of the secondhand market in the case of the, no, actually that's not true. Secondhand market on both, you're looking at a value of 650 to 700. So it's an equitable trade. That is interesting in itself because of my third plans for that guitar, but we'll talk about that another time. What I want to talk about tonight is a topic that I think is growing to be more and more relevant these days, especially as the economy tightens. I think that this one is for the thrifty among us. Trading guitars instead of buying them outright is a subject that I want to talk about tonight. It's got to be a few criteria in order to make it, of course, a right and equitable trade. And I want to actually specifically detail my thinking and thought process when I try to put together a deal like this. By the way, the guy did say yes, and on Sunday, he's just an hour quick ride by train outside of Amsterdam. So I'm going to go to his place, look at some guitars because he's a dealer as well, and do the trade with him for this. So Sunday night I'll show you the telly, but I wanted to go through some of my thought processes when I put a deal like this together, my experience. So this video is also for those of you out there who are on the fence about doing something like this, but we're hesitant. And we're looking for kind of, a roadmap at how it would be best to proceed. So I hope for that it is helpful. I decided to share these insights and strategies based on my own experience. And I'm going to use that recent trade that's still in progress with this Greco here as sort of a way of showing you how I navigate. Now, given today's economic challenges with rising prices, tighter budgets, many musicians are looking for ways to refresh their collection without breaking the bank. I watched a guy, a guitar YouTuber. I'm not really, an older guy, older than me. And the title of his video was, basically, it sucks this on the secondhand market these days. And he's sitting there and he's pontificating about the things that, we've discussed for many a year here on this channel. All of them are great points, but it's always interesting to see the light bulb come on some of this stuff. One of the things that I found interesting, that he was sitting there, and one of the guitars that he was saying that he was having a difficult time moving was actually a parts caster. And quite frankly, guys, avoid parts casters. Avoid buying them. And if you're going to avoid making them, unless you're really, really knowing that you're going to keep it for yourself, and it's minimum amount of money into it. I did a video just on that subject alone. You can check it out on my channel. Then don't do it. Don't do it. John Bond, trading is like two businessmen, both trying to screw the other over. Well, I'd like to, good one, John. I'd like to try to show you that it can be an equitable trade in the way that I approach it. I'd like to consider myself to be a fair businessman. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I've been dragging that tall, thin Kev out here for a few more days than I wanted to. My apologies. But when I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. And if I think it's an equitable trade, I won't, I'm not going to approach you unless I think it's a good thing for you as well. So I'm thinking of both sides. With rising prices and tighter budgets, many musicians are looking ways to refresh their collection without breaking the bank. Trading offers an opportunity to leverage your current gear to get something new to you, or of useful trade value for you as well. In my case, I'll talk about that in a minute. When I sat down to write this script this afternoon, I decided to go through a case for trading. So I want to make a case. I don't think I've ever made a solid case before for trading. I've said it's a great thing to do. But here's my case. Really, with inflation and rising prices, buying new or even used gear can be expensive. Trading allows you to avoid a cash transaction. And in some places, depending upon where you are, that is a good thing as well. And still get something of equal or greater value. Sometimes you can trade up. I've done it. For instance, in this case of this Greco, I bought this guitar for about 170 euros. And I put in an additional, let's just say 100 euros into it, more or less. And it now has a trade value of, again, like I said, between 650, 700 euros on it. And that's one of the reasons why I thought about doing it was to build it up to build the value of it, because it is a guitar, so it does have that going for it. If it was a more modern guitar, more recent guitar, then no. But also, there was a lot of me getting the Fender, doing a trade on a Fender, even a made in Mexico, which people are starting to wake up to the fact that made in Mexico Fender is as good as the USA. As a matter of fact, there are about less than a half hour, 45-minute ride between the two factories, and they swap parts all the time. Trust me. But in Japan, made in Mexico fenders actually have a little bit of a premium on them because of obviously they don't get over there a lot. So you have to also think about the markets in terms of each the world is a market. You got to know the small individual quirks of each individual market with that larger market. So that's what was my thinking process behind that. And so those were the things that I hope to extract from it. But that I hope to give to this guy when I'll get into that. I'm getting ahead of myself. When you trade, you don't need to worry as much about fluctuating market prices for cash sales. Again, stressing that what you're trying to do is avoid any cash transactions if you can. This is taking what you have. That, the other thing I liked about that guy's video, and there he was talking about, he really started off by saying, I have too many guitars and I'm willing to admit it. Which, as we all know, is the beginning of understanding, the beginning of wisdom in this world of come to the fact that, wait a minute, this is getting to be out of control. And he says, I've got some that, and he showed them, he videoed the ones that he wanted to move, and some of them were really nice. So he had a P90 gold top with a Bigsby on it. I usually don't like Bigsby, but boy, this Gibson P90 gold top he had with the Bigsby was lovely and nice guitar. I had one of those. Again, gold top classic. But I digress. But he showed those guitars, and certainly there's a lot of value, and there's a lot of things there that he could probably, he's trying to sell them for cash, but I know that he hasn't given up on his gas. I think for a guy like this would be perfect to be considering the positive aspects of trading. When you're working with a trade agreement, which is often more stable than volatile secondhand sales. In other words, I showed up on many a deal where the person said, oh, I changed my mind about it, and that could happen with the trade as well, but usually with trades, I don't run into that. Usually the guy says, yep, that's it, and we, like this deal on Saturday, I know it'll go through. But especially when you're dealing with dealers, dealer to dealer. But because there's reputation there as well, if you care about such things. Really, you're working within a trade agreement, which is often more stable than volatile secondhand sales. It's just the truth of it. Andrew 357, hey sir, how you doing? Always keeping the original parts. If you like to upgrade pickups, tuners, etc., I always put the guitar back to stock to sell a trade. You won't get the value upgrades back in any deal. And when I get another, thank you very much, Andrew. Very, very good points there. And I extend that out also to why you don't want to get involved in parts casters, because you will never, ever get what you put into that guitar in terms of your cash value. You won't get it back. And for these very reasons that Andrew listed. Hyperion, the real question is blow or rim job. I don't like cocaine. That's the first one. And a little bit of salt around the limb and then a squeeze of lemon. That's the perfect rim for me. Tall, thin Kev. Back in a bit if I can. All right, man. I got you. Thank you for showing up even for a minute. Michael Watson, I have a made in Mexico Fender Telecaster. It's a fantastic. That's what I wanted to hear. I was going to throw that question out at the end. Do you guys have a made in Mexico Strat or Telecaster? I really, again, like I said, you've seen the video for Vinidal, and if you haven't, I put instead of the unboxing video, I put that out next because it ties in nicely with tonight as well. I thought, again, like I said, a bit of trilogy I thought of. But you can see how many guitars were there, and finding one guy that had the one guitar that because I had, it wasn't just anything. I had a specific Fender made in Mexico Sartelli. That was it. And this guy was the only one who had both but no, he didn't have both. I'm sorry, he had the one. The other Strat that he had, maybe I'll see that. I'll ask him what that was, but maybe it's just an American Fender. But in any case, he had what I want in candy apple red. So again, it has the hand of fate on it as well. That's the kind of medical part of this I'll throw out there. But if you have one, I'd love to hear what you think. I think this one is fantastic. Looking, candy apple red, it's a beauty. It's a real beauty. I love candy apple red Strats, man. I mean, Tellys. Budget flexibility. Now, this really works out for you, especially if you're looking to avoid large cash purchases. Trades can help you secure the gear you need without stretching your budget. Now, the non-monetary advantages are finding gems. When trading, you can often find that isn't available in stores anymore. The vintage guitar world is perfect for this. You may come across guitars with unique history, character, or sound that can't be bought at your local shop. Also, building relationships. One of the main things that I did, and with this guy that I'm doing this trade with, is building a new relationship because he's very interested in getting into echoes. That's where in vintage Japanese guitars. That's where the advantage is to him above the fact that it's of equal value. It's also the allure of getting a real, in excellent condition, I might say, Greco, which is a direction that he wants to take his business in. It'll give him a chance to have one. I like giving it to a dealer because I know he's going to take really, really good care of it. I know that for sure. So again, for him, there are the wins on his side. So again, it is a win-win kind of thing. Always thinking about that. And I wouldn't have known that if I hadn't taken the time to stop and talk to him. And as well as people, I've got another guy who's interested in my services that I met there as well. Yeah, very important, building relationships. We got one here. John says, in Toronto, no matter if I specifically say in my ads, no trades, these trades come out of the woodwork. Always try to offer me a Camaro for my Corvette. You guys have to dig that. That's a heavy statement. I like that one. In 5 years, the deal has never been fair. Yeah, this is extending out from your position. See, if you as an individual are looking at these steps and using these steps tonight to do your trades, and you can read the room and find somebody of like mind, then I think that's something that can be done. On ads and things like that, of course, people are going to go fishing. It could be worse. They could say, yeah, I'll take it, and they could show up to your house, and try to take it from you. Happens all the time. No, this is really an instance where you wanting to trade, the best way that you could approach it to make it attractive to the person that you're offering to trade to, and again, it's attractive to you. It's a win-win kind of thing. Other than that, if you're out there putting ads out, as you know, you're kind of fishing. Trading often means you interact more closely with other musicians and dealers, leading to connections that may help with future deals or be a pain in the ass. Take your pick. Por qué no dos? The dealer I traded with, he's now interested in getting into vintage Grecos, and we both benefited. Like I said, man, I'm talking about win-wins, and I talked about finding this guy was a needle in a haystack in itself, but I had a good feeling that that was the right pond to go fishing in, so to speak. And face-to-face is always a good way to do it, and these are things that you can do, and also a reason to attend these shows, because you can take a piece of gear with you, and you may come across somebody that's willing to make a deal there on the spot. Generally, this is dealers themselves, and they have, again, like I said, some sort of reputation to keep. They're going to be tough, but again, if you have a win-win to offer, you never know. Now, again, like I said, we both walked away happy from this deal. Because I restored the Greco myself, I increased its value with minimal cost. If you got the skill to restore or customize guitars, this is a powerful tool in trading. You can elevate your gear's value significantly, as I did. That was also one of the points of this as well, is showing how you can build a little bit of value with a little bit of skill on your end, a few tools. Build value in some of the stuff that you have, so that when you do go to sell or trade it, that you can get more out of it. So there was a whole lot of things I was trying to do with this one to make examples to show. Now, one of the most important things is having a strategy for success. Now, again, this is you reaching out to trade. This is not people coming at you, but you use these tools in order to identify somebody very quickly whether or not they're BSing you. Of course, a lowball offer or something ridiculous would do that automatically. Maybe you have somebody that may come along, that needle in a haystack, and you can use these strategies. The first one is know the market value of your gear. It amazes me when people want to talk about, oh, I think I paid this much for it, therefore I expect that much back for it. No, it doesn't work that way, as we all well know, or you should know. And it's really essential. You need to know the current used market value for both your gear and the gear you want in a trade. Again, I knew market value for, even before I found one, I knew what I had, I knew what value it had out there on the marketplace, I knew what the margin or the pond, like I said, that I could go fishing in to find what I was looking for. Sites like Reverb, eBay, and the local guitar shops are great places to get pricing. Make sure that you're realistic about the condition and demand for your instrument. Again, that's on your part. If those guys that pitched out to you all those crappy offers had taken time to really think about what they had to offer you, again, like I said, you can sort of sort these folks out very easily just by applying this one thing. Is somebody offering me something that is a reasonable value? Whether you want it or not, that's another thing. It's something you're interested in or not. That's a separate issue. But is it of equal value there? Then maybe you get somebody who's serious here, and then you can say, well, not that, but what else you got, if so interested. Even though I know you said you're interested, in your case, you just wanted to sell it. You didn't want trades. But again, like I said, sometimes you might be able to trade for something that may sell better for you or somebody you know wants. Again, just throwing it out there. Be transparent and honest. I can't give you honesty. You were either, the older I get, the more I begin to think that either you were born honest or you weren't. And it really comes down to that. You can be born into a family full of liars and be an honest person. You could be, come from a family full of angels and just be a total liar. It's just the way you're born. And I don't like to deal with dishonest people. I just don't. As a matter of fact, I avoid them. And I try myself to not be one of those. It would make me a hypocrite. So try to be transparent and honest. No one wants a surprise in a trade. Disclose any modification, repairs, or damage. I told the guy on this guitar that everything on this is original except for the knobs I had to replace and the springs, both of which I have two of the original knobs and all the original springs. And he doesn't want them, but which is fine. I like keeping parts, but as was mentioned before, in the chat. But I let him know. I let him know. Honesty builds trust and ensures that both parties feel good about the trade. In my case, I was upfront about the Greco being a restoration, and it actually increased the dealer's interest because he knew that I put some time and effort into making it nice. Tall Thin Kev. Yeah, okay, we got to that. Okay, we're all caught up on that. All right, very good. Just like to take a minute here to remind everybody to hit the like button. If you haven't hit the like button yet, take 2 seconds to do. Whether you're watching this live or in the rerun, please take 2 seconds to hit the like button. Thank you so much. I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I'm halfway there. I think that I can make it, so with help from you guys. So if you haven't joined this community yet, as you can see, it's a great one, full of great, fantastic friends that I'm considering these people friends, good people, each and every one of them. And you feel like you want to get into a community like this, why don't you hit the subscription button and join in. Thank you so much. John Bond. I'd say 1 out of 5 guitars I go to look at in person. They are sneaking, lying about something, e.g. repaired headstock, finished repairs, change pickups, yeah, all of that. I agree. And in my case, it's even worse because I'm dealing across the world from Europe to Japan. And people, and again, with some guitars, I got a guitar that it had 4 knobs in the picture, but when I got here, it had 3 knobs. And stuff like that, there's nothing you can do in my case. And when you go in person and point that, because I've had that happen too, all the excuses come out, and at that point, you either try to get a reduction in price or you walk. Other than that, anything else is, nuts, as Hidero Storm says. Good timing with that one. So, yeah, just be upfront. For the win-win. The best trades are the ones where both parties feel like they've gained something in value. You don't want the cat calling you up a week later and saying, do you think we can redo that again because I'm not comfortable? It's like that scene from that 70s show where Leo and Michael were arguing over the price of a car, and at the end they both turned around because they thought that they had gotten over on the other and said, sucker. And they both were basically where they had started at. So don't be like that, for the win-win. Think about the goals of the other trade too. Like I said, I talked to this guy. When he says, hey, I'm interested in getting to vintage guitars, hey, here's the opportunity. The dealer I traded with wanted to explore vintage Japanese guitars. So I knew that he would see value in my grok. Again, he was a needle in a stack in a haystack. Yeah, he didn't have to be there that day. He could have said, screw it, I don't want to go that day. I could have believe me, and I had more than 1,000 reasons to say, screw it that day, I don't want to do it. But something told me to go. And that one guy, you just need that one honest dealer, that one guy that you can do that win-win kind of scenario with. And most often, yeah, it is in person. Be patient and strategic. Sometimes it takes a while to find the right trade. I didn't expect anything there. I took it with me, but I didn't, and I wasn't going to say, oh, you brought it all this way, you might as well do this. I didn't. I said, this is what, and I'm not going to accept anything else. So be patient and strategic. It takes time to find the right trade. You want to ensure that the guitar you're getting fits your needs and isn't just an impulse decision. Stay patient and make sure the deal is right for you. That's the most important thing. Make sure it's the right deal for you. Don't trade it just because, oh, it's not selling. Okay, maybe I'll just go ahead and take that guy's. I'll take that guy's Camaro, my Corvette. Damn it, I'll do it anyway. Um, so attend guitar shows and events. It gets back to my discussion last time about our guitar shows dying. Well, we have a reason to go there. Yet another reason I can add to the list of why you should go to guitar shows and events. If you're serious about trading, events like the Vintage Guitar Show that I went to are fantastic places to potentially meet trade partners. You also get to see and try out a lot of gear in person, so that's a huge plus. Um, Now, I did want to touch upon the economic downturn aspects of life right now. There are companies that, see, to boost their bottom line, companies will fire thousands of people. We know this. And it has, it's in order to boost their stock prices. The recent CEO, one of the two CEOs of Spotify, our good friends over at Spotify, cashed out to the tune of $85 million while he cut his workforce by, tens of thousands. So you got to be a real dick. I really wonder where these guys think that this money is going to, never mind. It's a tough market. There's an economic downturn, and a lot of musicians, a lot of people are losing their jobs. A lot less things out there for people, gigs for people to go to as well. John Bond, I always say before I show up, I want to play it through an amp in a warm, lit environment. What? You don't want to strum it acoustically in a dim room? I hear you, man. That's funny. I walked into some guitar shops in some countries, man, that just describes exactly what I just said. Oh man, that's funny. I have to give that one a, yeah. That's a funny one. I had a guy try to sell me a V at night in the winter with snow in the dark, no amps outside his door. Like, yeah, I'm here for that guitar. He's like, yeah, here it is, man. It's cool. Let's do this. Can I plug in? It's tough right now. Grandma's asleep and she's a light sleeper, so I'm thinking no. That's funny, man. Right now, people are less likely to shell out big money for new guitars. And secondhand ones as well, as I witnessed at that vintage show. Which makes trading even more attractive, I think, these days. I think you're going to find more and more people who will be more willing to trade than sell, actually. Addiction I have. Instead of spending cash, they can leverage what they already have. So a lot of cats, again, these COVID guitars would be willing, I think, as we go down the line, because that's their only out. Because the secondhand market is not, it's just no bueno. So I hope that this encourages more trading. Another point to consider is that vintage instruments like my Greco tend to hold or even increase in value over time, making them great trade pieces. In a slow economy, trading a vintage guitar can be a smart way to upgrade without spending money. Again, I've increased its value by restoring it. It will hold that value and it will eventually increase in value, actually, as long as it's kept in this condition. It's attractive too. Again, like I said, more modern stuff. It would be a little bit of a tougher sell. However, again, as many points as you can put forward with the trade that are positive for the person you want to trade with, again, the better off the trade deal will be for everybody. How to negotiate in a tough market is another thing. In a slower market, it's easier to negotiate, actually. People, again, like I said, are more pliable. It's just, the way it is. But you have to be respectful. I've talked about be honest, be transparent. Now I've hit the trifecta, be respectful. Be respectful. again, like I said, much like with honesty, you were either born with a bone of respect in you or you weren't. I went to that big wedding uh, on the same day as Vinendal in the evening. And by the way, that thing went until 3 a.m. Understood. I jetted after 10:30, quarter 11. That was about all my body could take, and boy, did I pay for it. But this lady that I met and her husband from South Carolina, actually, they flew from the States to come to this wedding. And as I was leaving, I ran into her in the hall, and she was on her phone. And I was like, well, I'm leaving, hope you take care of blah, blah, blah. She said, yeah, I'm dealing with a little drama right now. I said, what? She said, my kids, even though I told them not to, my teenage kids are throwing a party in the house. And the only reason I know they're throwing a party is because another of the parents called and said, is this party in your house, okay with you? And I told that story to my mom. Now let's be honest. I don't know. I asked a friend of mine. I told him that story. I said, what would you have done in that situation? He said, oh yeah, I'd probably try to throw a party too. Parents all the way in Europe. I got the house to myself. Hell yeah. But I told my mother. She said, oh, you would have never done that. It's true. I would have never done something like that. It's just a matter of respect. And again, respect is something that's in there. It's kind of disrespectful, of course, naturally, we know as older folks, for those kids to do that to their parents while they were gone. But, the sins of our youth and all that. But you would hope that respect is learned, at least in that case, eventually. But be respectful. And if you're not, then don't do it. Don't do it. People may be holding on to their gear more tightly because selling isn't easy. You need to find the balance between being fair and getting a deal that you're both happy with. John Bond says yes, like that. Yeah, man. Somehow I feel I was there. COVID. Yeah, been all mark. I wouldn't either. Even back then, I knew better. Yeah, it's about a respect thing. I knew better because I knew my father would have whooped my ass, and that is no metaphorically. It was back in the day where parents, I'm old enough to tell you that I lived in a day where the belt did come out every now and then. And that was enough for me. The old adage of spare the rod and spoil the child, that one just, didn't fall off, off a tree, all in itself. It has some true meaning to it. So find a deal you're both happy with. Again, like I said, Ben says exactly. Yeah, man. And my mother told me that I said to my mother, I said, when she said, these children these days have no respect. And she said, you children, you would have never done that, Michael. And I said, yeah, I had a sent Mom not to. And she said, yeah, and I would have, beat your butt when I got home. Yeah, that was one of the incentives. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. That's both my parents. So by the way, there was no good cop, bad cop. It was two bears you did not want to poke. and again, that's why I am where I am, I guess. But I just want to throw this out there because I'm always looking for alternatives to spending money. And I think most people are too. I mean, for that gentleman whose YouTube video inspired today's discussion in a way, who bought too many and realizes that, I am grateful. Because again, there's somebody out there who's converting. They're leaving the dark side of the force. And I think that for a guy like that whose title video title is the secondhand market selling sucks, basically, I think that something like this might for him be a great alternative. Begin following these steps and having having integrity in the deal, looking for a win-win deal. I think it's perfect for him, and maybe some other guys out there might be in the same kind of position. Tina Marie. Tina Marie. That's great. Tina Marie is is my favorite female singer, by the way. I was raised by my daddy and he didn't play. I know what you talk about. Yeah, dig it, Tina. Dig it. Been all Mark. I definitely would have had a young Buffy over though. Well, that's a whole different thing. Tina Marie, yes, I was named after the singer. Every time you come around, my world starts turning topsy-turvy. You know that one? And I just can't fight the spin. Yeah, I love Tina. You know, yeah. Really saving money these days, guys. I can't stress that enough. What we're trying to do here, talk about are ways to save money and be productive musicians at the same time. Again, none of this gear means anything if you're not practicing or playing it or doing whatever you have to do in order to be creative with it. So again, I always circle back to that. However, they are expensive. They're not cheap things. But a good guitar in working condition is the basic necessity for a guitarist or a studio musician, a multi-instrumentalist, in case you're really doubly screwed in a lot of ways because you need all of them. But really, for that crowd, we gotta save money wherever we can. And we have to think of creative ways in order to do that. I live as a minimalist, but I'm not a musician. Well, yeah, this extends out not just to guitars, it extends out to cars, it extends out to clothes, to whatever you're into. Golf clubs, I often joke about. All of these things, we can clean our house by trading as well. I'm not exactly talking about a yard sale, but there are venues and ways that you can trade things as well. You can sell to a lot. Again, like I said, I describe YouTube as a high school, and we're all sitting in the cafeteria, and every table has its clique. This is the guitarist clique. There's the Pokemon clique. There's the Star Wars, YouTube channel clique. There's these different tables, but a lot of this stuff really works wherever you are. At least I try to make it. Tina Marie, good content to help others. Thank you, Tina. I really do appreciate it. And I do appreciate showing up. You're always welcome here. As a matter of fact, all you guys are so welcome here all the time. And I do appreciate your comments and your input very much. If I haven't said that in the last 5 minutes, forgive me. I do want to say that. My final thoughts are, I hope that you found this discussion useful, especially if you're thinking about making a trade rather than spending hard-earned cash in these tough times. Trading is an excellent way to keep your collection fresh and exciting without putting extra strain on your wallet, money that needs to be spent in other places on other things. And any way that we can think of doing that is great. Again, or building value. I don't do very many trades, but this guitar was specifically made for that. And the next leg of that trade, getting that guitar to Japan, is going to be the next part of that. But even that, like I said, I'm being strategic with it. I have I'm actually trying to trade up value. I believe I can take that made in Mexico and trade it up for something even a little bit more valuable than that in that market. So, but again, that's another subject for another time, but it's part of being strategic. prior to being strategic with your trading. John Bond, phone calls versus testing shows people you're serious, and cuts through the back end as well, or showing up in person at a venue. When I ask someone to call, it shows they are serious and not grasping for straws. Great point. So we can add that to the list. Again, to identify a good one, that needle haystack in a haystack, that one good guy or that one good trade is the communication. If they're willing to, a little bit more than just a cursory WhatsApp, even if that, then you got yourself a winner. So there's a lot of things that it's not all negative, it's not all baddies out there. There's a lot of solid people out there. There's a lot. I'd like to hope and believe. Maybe I'm still a little delusional. I don't know. That the majority of people out there are good people. And if you ran into somebody and you thought they were good, but it turned out otherwise, maybe you caught them on a bad day. You never know. But the point is that I do believe most people are, but we're talking about a needle in a haystack. We're looking for somebody who specifically wants something like this for something that you want. But those trades out there, when they happen, as they did in the case of this Greco, they're great. Again, like I said, guys, it would just taking a chance to go out there and see if something met that criteria. I had a better than average chance, I thought, and it proved to be true. But again, extend this out to yourselves. That's about all I can put onto that one. That's about all I can say. I do hope, again, like I said, that you find that information useful. Again, like I said, everything starts with your character in a kind of a way. What kind of guy, what kind of woman are you? It really comes down to making that determination, and then everything that goes from that. If you're honest, then I do believe that honesty will flow towards you. John Bond, thanks for the knowledge and the laughs. Less Camaros and more Corvettes. That was a good one, man. I'm old enough to really understand that statement. As I always say, dig it. In other words, get into it, consider it, understand all the aspects of it. That's what dig it means. I can dig that. I can dig that one. Guys, so the next video, if you haven't watched it, I have a video on my regular channel content where I talk about something. Where I show the Vinodol show and show a couple of Gibson Black Beauties because, again, like I said, I wanted to touch and hold, and again, that's another beautiful thing about going to those events is you get to actually touch them. And I wanted to compare 70, so I found a 79 Gibson Black Beauty Custom and compare it with this one. I lifted that guitar up, held it in my hand, and I looked at it up and down, and I did the whole 9 on it. And guess what? Other than the fret nibs, which is the only thing, this has what I call half nibs, not complete nibs, not completely not there, but not really there. Other than that, the weight, the shape, every aspect of it, the neck, the feel of the neck, all of that were equivalent. And that's one of the great things about going to a show like that is to be able to report that to you, say to you, hey, this Greco is pretty nice. It's so nice that, again, like I said, I'm a dealer. As you guys know, stuff comes in and goes out all the time. But I've always wanted a Black Beauty Custom, and I am seriously considering keeping this one. I know I say that quite often, but this one really, it's a 76 Black Beauty Custom, that I happen to find to be pretty cool. And again, this is something that I really solidified in my mind by able to go to the vintage show and touch other equivalent guitars, the Gibson equivalents. and see, is this really, let's take these two apples and see if they're exactly the same thing. So there is that. Um, so watch the Vin and Doll show. You'll see a couple of those, the ones that I'm talking about that I compared this one to. Unboxing video that I will probably try to do Sunday, edit and get out more Monday at the latest. So please tune in. If I don't get out, I'll announce it again on our Sunday at Mike's this coming Sunday. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you for putting up with me in this temporary location here tonight. Actually, I think the lighting is pretty nice. I think this is it's not as uncomfortable. I miss my chair. I can't lean back and put my arm up on my desk like I can in my studio, but this is all right. This is okay. Thanks, guys. Thank you to each and every one of you for always showing up and supporting this live stream. If you build it, they shall come, as they say. And you guys certainly came, and thank you so much for doing so. I will see you this Sunday. Same bad channel with another new interesting subject. Until the next one, you guys take care. Signing off. Bye-bye.